This is another, and this is why I think this is going to be a great Super Bowl. Because there's a lot of storylines wrapped into this game. When you look at the Rams, man, just look at it, man. Just look at them. You have Matthew Stafford, who his career, he has been. It's something to fit matters. I talk about it all the time. I think I named the episode after it once, but fit matters, man. Matthew Stafford is a good quarterback. When you're playing for a franchise like the Detroit Lions, it's kind of hard to showcase just how good you are because of the fact that you don't really have much around you. Even though he did have, Megatron, that's about it. Well, they had Nate Burleson too. I forgot about that, but for Matthew Stafford to go through what he's went through with Detroit, I think his wife had medical problems too. To make it to a Super Bowl for Odell Beckham Jr. being one of the top wide receivers in New York, that not working out, getting sent to Cleveland, that completely not working out, people turning on him, his injury history, people not even, people blaming him for the rift and the dysfunction that is Cleveland, to be in a Super Bowl. To Aaron Donald, that's won almost every award possible outside of MVP, to be considered arguably one of the best defensive players of all time, to making it to a Super Bowl with a Jared Goff and ultimately not winning. Von Miller, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl 50 MVP, I believe. Then having injury after injury after injury and dysfunction with the Broncos and not having a good quarterback. Sean McVay continuously getting smacked by Kyle Shanahan. I think he was like 0-5 or 0-6 or something going into this game. It's just so many. This game, I wouldn't have been surprised if the 49ers beat the Rams. I mean, you beat them twice already in the regular season. We know about the divisional rivalries and stuff. But I wouldn't have been surprised. And it was looking great. Like, they were, let me say this. The defense was looking all right. Deebo Samuel. We'll talk about the 49ers in a second. But the Rams, man, and I say this a lot. I've been saying this a lot the last few episodes. This is why you set, they're clearly and definitely, and they've come out and say they're in the win now mode, man. You have like no draft picks, or no first round draft picks to like 2026 or something, because there's something to be said, man. Some teams don't care. I'm not gonna say don't care, but don't really prioritize the longevity. Of course, they'll be there for a while, but some teams don't care about what happens in 3 years, what happens in 5 years, what happens in 6 years. Some teams don't care about that. Some teams over care about that, like the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, they have like 1,001 draft picks for the next 5 years. Like, what are you going to do? You're still going to be trash in the next 5 years because you don't have a star. Some teams do not care about their future because there's something to be said about a team that you just won a Super Bowl, man. It's different when you have that Super Bowl on your belt. Like, think about it. What have the Eagles been since their Super Bowl? I'll tell you. You lose your coach. You lose both of your quarterbacks, and Nick Foles and Carson Wentz. Your team is just continues to get you lose your franchise tight end in Zach Ertz. Like, it's just completely different. However, what are they always going to say? Well, we did get a Super Bowl. The Bucs may never win a Super Bowl again, but they can say, "Hey, we got a Super Bowl with Tom Brady and Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown." And that's Antonio Brown. People can talk people will throw, like, he'll do something crazy. People will just talk crazy about his name. But one thing they will say, well, he is a Super Bowl champion. People, again, having that Super Bowl is huge, man. You can be great in 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but people want a Super Bowl. That is the name of the game. So when the Rams don't have, like, they gave all their picks away, they can care less. When you have Aaron Donald, when you trade Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford, when you have Odell Beckham Jr., when you have Cooper Kupp, when you have Von Miller, when you have Robert Wood, when you have Tyler Higbee, when you have Cam Akers, when you have Sonny Michel, they want to win a Super Bowl now. Because quiet as kept, you may not have Von Miller next year. You may not have Odell Beckham Jr. next year. In this game, let's talk about this game a little bit. This game really is this game. These last two games for the Rams against the Bucks and against the 49ers is a prime example why you make the trade that you did with Jared Goff and 2 first-round picks for a Matthew Stafford, because the slant pass that he threw to Cooper Kupp and I think it was the out route that he threw to Van Joseph is why you do it. And there's no doubt in my mind that if Jared Goff was the quarterback on Sunday, the 49ers would have won this game. But because Matthew Stafford threw a red zone interception and didn't get rattled. That's the theme of this. That's the theme of this episode: not getting rattled. Joe Burrow never got rattled, even down 21-3 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Matthew Stafford threw an end zone interception and never got rattled. Even your coach, and we always give praise to Sean McVay. Rightfully so. Sean McVay is a really good coach. But your coach has the 2 dumbest, and I mean absolute dumbest, challenges I've ever seen in my life. It made me think, like, yo, don't they have somebody up top to tell you, like, hey, you should challenge that, or hey, you shouldn't challenge that? Both plays were clear as day you shouldn't challenge that. And he those 2 bad challenges. So now you don't really have any timeouts in the second half or challenges. Matthew Stafford overcomes that. Cam Akers really ain't doing nothing the first half. And this is also why you bring an Odell Beckham Jr. Cooper Kupp didn't really do much of anything the first half. Yeah, he had some catches, but it was an Odell Beckham Jr. show the first half, and then pretty much Cooper Kupp did his thing the second. I mean, you lose Robert Wood, like Tyler Higbee even went out. I think he has an MCL sprain, and they're still saying that he could NFL boy. That man sprains MCL, and they said, well, he possibly could still play in the Super Bowl. No, bruh, no. I would love to play in the Super Bowl too. You never know when you're gonna get another chance. And Tyler Higbee is big, but no, bro. MCLs ain't nothing to play with. The Rams are a good team, man. The Rams are a good team, and it was a great game. And I'm happy for Matthew Stafford. I'm happy for. I never really realized how many people I'm happy for when we talk about teams. You know, Like, now I know that my team's not going to be in it, so I start to look for storylines and who I'm happy for. I'm happy for Matthew Stafford. Everything, a quarterback of his caliber, and people writing him off time and time again because of the situation that he was in. The fact that you come and you go to another organization, and I want to see success, man. And of course, they want to see success as well. But I'm happy for Matthew Stafford for making it to a Super Bowl. I'm happy for Odell Beckham Jr. People kill Odell Beckham Jr. and there are some things that he's done that may not have been favorable, like the boat ride. But outside of that, and he has dropped a couple clutch passes in his tenured as a football player. But I'm happy for Odell Beckham Jr. Man. I'm happy for Aaron Donald. I mean, he's the best defensive player in the world, and and I'm happy for the Bengals. I'm happy for Joe Burrow. I'm happy for Jamar Chase. I was not a fan of the draft pick, but I still like the fact people were kind of killing Jamar Chase for sitting out his last year in LSU. Also, probably because of how bad LSU was that year, but people were killing Jamar Chase for sitting out. Hell, Jamar Chase couldn't catch a cold in the preseason. Remember that? I'm happy for T. Higgins, man. I'm happy for Joe Mixon. Remember, well, he did do some crazy stuff, but remember the whole Oklahoma incident? I'm happy for him, man.